I want y'all to look closely at what I have right here. Just an everyday item, small piece of candy, but the crazy thing about this little everyday item is that our brain views this item, this piece of candy, the exact same as it views nicotine. Now, the Daily Beast released an article on April 9th, 2016, that says how nicotine, or the substance found in cigarettes, is viewed the exact same way as sugar does in the neurological pathways of our brain. That means that it's a real addiction on just sugar. So the crazy thing about this is that it's a huge epidemic in this country is sugar addiction. So just to put it in perspective, the Wall Street Journal released an article on December 29th in 2016, and they mentioned that diabetes is the seventh most leading cause of death in the United States. The seventh leading cause of death just from sugar and due to obesity from diabetes. That's a real issue. So today I'd like to talk about how this sugar crisis has come about and how big of a problem it is in the United States. And then I'd also like to tell you how we can stop it, how we can get ahead of the curve. All right, so we're going to start out number one talking about the physical and mental health problems associated with increased sugar intake. Then we're going to talk about how it's caused. Why is sugar such a big deal? We've talked about. We're going to talk about the business, how businesses profit from increased sugar, how we are introduced to it at an early age, and how it's a real addiction and it sticks with us over time. And then we'll finalize and we'll finish number three with the solution that's going to help everybody involved and stop this crisis. All right. So let's talk about the physical and mental health problems. So according to an article written by the New York Observer, published by the New York Observer in February 13th, 2018, it mentioned that physically, increased sugar and having too much sugar in your body can lead to headaches, digestive trouble, PMS systems, cramps, acne, weight gain, and diabetes. That's a whole huge range of different problems. That's not just, I feel a little bit tired today, or maybe I'm getting a little bit of weight. Like headaches, even your skin, messing with your skin. It's messing with all functions and systems of the body just because it's a little bit sweet. That's a real problem. That is a real problem. And also, it can even affect our mind, not even just the outside or the inside, but up here. That same article mentioned how when we have increased sugar, it decreases our ability to produce vitamin B, and that can lead to having low energy, increased anxiety, increased risk of depression, and even a chance of insomnia, not being able to sleep. Again, these are real issues just from a little bit of sugar. All right. So now we're going to move to why this system, us being so addicted to sugar, why this has been happening to us for such a long time. So we're going to start out talking about the profit, how the businesses profit from us having sugar, how we're introduced to it at an early age, and then also how we can become addicted. So the Daily Beast wrote an article on January 3rd, 2017, and it talked about how businesses started adding sugar into their products and messing with the recipes because it was a lot cheaper and people liked it more. So there was a huge increase in profits by adding a whole bunch of sugar to everything they possibly could. So it was a natural reason, why not add it? I'm providing more jobs, I'm getting more money, it's a win-win for everybody, all right? Now, so that's how it began. But personally, how it began for each and every one of us, our sugar addiction, is because we're introduced to it at an early age. According to an article written by the Targeted News Service on November 15, 2019, it said that 61% of infants and 98% of toddlers, that's almost all the toddlers in the world, are being introduced to added amount of sugar in their diets, which it mentioned can lead to an early development of negative health conditions. So just little kids, little babies, they are getting exposed to a number of toxic health problems that could be very bad for them and affect their entire lives just because we're naturally increased to sugar. So that's how we get addicted. We're at that young age, we're introduced to it. And the reason why we stick with this addiction is because that's what it is. It's a true addiction. So the Targeted News Service also released another article in January 18th, 2019, and they did a study on rats and how rats were affected to different types of drugs. Sugar was on there. They found that rats would work harder for sugar rather than cocaine. Cocaine, a hard drug. You can get arrested in the country of the United States for possessing cocaine, and it said that you will work harder, you're more motivated, you're more addicted to get more sugar and have so much sugar rather than a hard drug. And that's why we are all so addicted. So here's how we're going to get ahead of it, all right? So what we're going to do on a large scale is we're going to create a number of barriers, making it very hard to get access to sugar, all right? First, we're going to start out with the sugar tax. We're going to attack it on the monetary front. It's going to make it very hard to physically access sugar, and also too, you have to pay more if you're going to want sugar, which is going to be a deterrent. Actually, the Australian Medical Association have been campaigning for a long time now to increase their tax on sugar, as mentioned in the Targeted News Service's article on June 29, 2018. After that, we're going to attack the internal, the mind. We're going to mandate all businesses to hold meetings regarding the dangers and the health dangers of intaking too much sugar. That way, physically, it's hard to get our hands on sugar, and then mentally, we're thinking, maybe I shouldn't be sugar. And then, the last thing, maybe I should be intaking sugar. And then the last thing to really solidify it is to create an incentive program. We're going to create a national weight loss program that's going to motivate people to lose weight, lower their fat percentages, not lose weight, and then that's going to help them, say, okay, so I shouldn't be having sugar, but now I really want to change up my habits and become healthier. That's on a large scale. So here's what you can do. To begin, we're going to do what I call diligent downhill, all right? So it's going to start very small. You're taking small steps down the hill, all right? Creeping down the hill. And what that means is maybe put half the sugar you usually do in your coffee. Maybe take one less candy than you usually do. And then eventually you're going to build up momentum, have no sugar for a day. Have very little sugar for an entire week, for a month. You're going to gain momentum, you're going to keep running, and then boom, you're free, and you're going to carry that momentum all the way else to a happier future. So, to conclude, I talked about today how the sugar addiction crisis, how what it does is there's a bunch of physical and mental health problems, how it was caused by businesses seeking profit, how we're early introduced to it, and how we become addicts. So join me, implement my diligent downhill solution, take this, throw it out the window. Thank you.